Hey there, guys. Chris here, Awkward Finance Guy. In today's video, I'm going to tell you how to avoid paying child support by doing these things. And this is crucial because a lot of people get stuck in paying so much child support, and this is how you're going to avoid it. So, we're going to talk about the top variables of how to avoid this because trust me, I've been in this actually, and that's why it's so close to my heart, is because a lot of times you can get screwed by not knowing how to avoid this child support game essentially. And guys, child support adds up so quick to where it's like crazy because you have to remember this is month over month over month that you're paying. And at the end of the year, it gets pretty freaky at how much money this is. So, the first and most important variable that you need to be aware of when trying to avoid or like bringing down your child support and how much you pay is the custody. Like, which percent of the custody do you guys have? And a lot of times, the ideal situation for you to pay less is to have a split 50-50 custody situation because and what this means is a lot of people get confused and how the system figures on custody. Listen closely. For to have custody of the child has to sleep there for the evening. That's how the government and the system figures out the amount of days for custody per se. So this means that the child has to sleep there. I hear from a lot of guys, yeah, well, I take them in evenings and it is what it is. But so what happens is you have to fight to the best of your ability to get split custody. This is hands down the biggest variable when it comes to paying less in child support. A lot of people don't realize this. And I will say that a lot of times for both families or both sides of the parents to have 50-50 split, you have to live pretty close together because a lot of times the child goes to school at a certain school, and for the child to sleep over at the parents house, they have to usually sleep there, and then they have to be brought to the school in the morning, and a lot of times the other parent picks them up and then does their cycle and starts over. That is the most average scenario. But I've heard from a lot of people that what happens is to get because some people are really smart about getting more child support, because if you do your research like you should, um, what will happen is both parents will initially live close to each other, and then one parent knows that if they move away, like maybe like 30 miles farther away from the other parent, that it makes it harder for that other parent to bring the child to school in the morning. So they're like, well, I work. A lot of times the start time of their job can reflect this, and it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And you have to do whatever it takes to get that 50-50 custody as far as to avoid paying more child support. This is a huge, huge, huge deal, guys. This is the biggest factor. And again, a lot of times you're going to have to hire an attorney to get that 50-50. You might have to even like move. A lot of times, like people have to move to be able to bring the child to daycare or school the next morning because the child, it is depicted upon where the child sleeps and the amount of nights. I'm stressing this because this is the biggest factor. The second most important variable when it comes to how much money you will pay in child support is actually a lot of people are unaware of this, but it's actually the level of your income. And what the system wants is the government wants essentially two families or two parents, I should say, split parents to have an equal incomes. Like if one of them makes a lot more money, what they're going to do is equal out the system because they see the two parents and the child as a team. Essentially, you're not married, but you sort of are in this limbo of child support. What they're going to do here is if one parent makes a lot more money, they're going to even out the system. You're going to pay a lot more child support if one of them makes more money. So a lot of times, the father will commonly make a lot more money. And you hear the story of the mom, she quits her job so she makes zero money just to make more child support. But I'm not saying that it isn't vice versa. It happens on both sides. So, and a lot of times there's loopholes. Sometimes I probably shouldn't even mention this, but there's a loophole. Like if you run your own small business, a lot of times you can have like you just be because all they can do if you have a small business is they go off of your revenue, and a lot of times a business, the gross revenue of a small business isn't what take home is. So what they do is they use like tax deductions against the gross revenue, and then it makes it seem like they have they haven't made anything, so they're not paying any child support. For example, let me give you an example. A person, let's say a guy owns his own construction company or side business, and he makes $100,000 in that side business, but it's tax free because it's small business. He's paid, maybe it was 1099, maybe it was just paid that way as a check, cash, or whatever. What he does then is he goes and buys a new pickup truck, and then he goes on vacation. He buys tons of four-wheelers, snowmobiles, and then he writes those off as tax deductions against the revenue. So then at the end of the tax year, it makes it seem like he only earned $10,000 of revenue. So then they try to, then the child support is based on that revenue of $10,000 versus like the gross revenue of the business. That's another hack a lot of people do to kind of get out of paying child support. And again, these are the biggest variables, guys. Please hit me up in the comments. I get so many questions with like how much to pay for child support and how to avoid paying it. I've done a handful of videos. And again, I do like helping you guys. So this is close to my heart and I have been through this. So, and again, like I said, the two biggest variables, of course, there's like a huge formula and calculator of how you figure it out. The two biggest, though, is how much custody you have. You got to fight for 50-50 or even 40-60. But if like you're doing that 80-20 game, you're going to be in trouble. And also how much income you make. If you're working a regular W-2 job where you make like $200,000, consider getting a different job where you make less money as a W-2, but maybe you do subcontract. And I'm not saying that, don't take this video wrong as to where I'm trying to help people avoid paying child support. I'm just saying there are a lot of situations where people pay too much and it's like unwarranted, or maybe people are being used and abused. Some people quit their job to take advantage of the other parent. It turns into like this limbo of just like this formula of trying to screw each other, which is entirely wrong, and I'm against it. So please hit me up in the comment section. I know this child support thing really kind of sucks. At the end of the day, though, guys, let's try to think about the child and what's best for the child. And again, I would highly advise that you hire an attorney, because it's going to save you a ton as far as like trying to figure out your child support. Please hit me up in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. That's why I do these videos. Please consider subscribing. I do these videos to help you guys. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So I helped you with this video, right? I shed some light on child support and how to avoid it. Now you have to repay me and just consider subscribing. I know this is a finance channel. It is what it is. Guys, hit me up though. I want to hear. Like, I know there's so much child support drama, and I want to hear some of it. So I guess hit me up in the comments. Please subscribe. I'm Chris, your awkward finance guy. I will see you in the next video. Please subscribe, guys. Avoid paying child support, and yeah, have a blessed day. I will see you in the next one. Peace. All right, guys, I'm out of here.